Hormones are a very broad topic, as you've heard from our earlier chat with Dr. Mark. And so today we've brought back Christine Baxter, who's a nutritional advisor and health coach, to enlighten us about the role gut health plays in hormonal balance, especially on our sex hormones, estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. Welcome back, Christine. This is, as I said, a broad topic, and we're just going to drill down into quite a specific part of it.
Yes.
But we spoke last week about gut health in general, and I think it's great that we've sort of revised that. But the role of hormones you touched on, but now we're going to expand there because this is quite a big, important one. Hormones are so prolific in our bodies in terms of very specific functions. So how does that affect gut health and vice versa?
Basically, the word hormone originates from the Greek word hormone, which means to excite, to set in motion. Okay, so our hormones are responsible for so many processes that are vital to the body, from growth and development to metabolism and passions. Okay, they're tiny little chemical messengers that work throughout the body. So a hormonal imbalance can actually come across in ways unexpected. Stuff like you're not able to perform mentally like you used to, or you struggle to focus, you all of a sudden start feeling down, or even you struggle to lose weight. So as a woman, your hormones fluctuate monthly, but also they fluctuate according to food and lifestyle choices. So in saying that, hormones become really important when it comes to the gut microbiome, all right, which is the environment of the gut. So there is research at the moment that is saying that the health of our gut microbiome has a lot to do with estrogen regulation, okay? And actually, if you're sitting with that poor gut health, it can actually increase your risk of estrogen-related diseases, such as PCOS, endometriosis, and even breast cancer.
How do you identify sort of symptoms that there is a hormonal challenge due to gut health versus it being something else?
Okay, so one of the big things I see in my practice is estrogen dominance, all right? And this has a lot of internal and external factors that influence this. But symptoms of this estrogen dominance, which is estrogen in excess in the body, can be anything from struggling with heavy periods, irregular periods, thyroid nodules, fibrocystic breasts, heavy periods, mood swings, irritability, anxiety, all these things that a lot of the times women expect as normal, as being part of a woman, is actually telling you that there is something not right. Remember, a symptom is the body telling you something is not working properly, all right? And with estrogen dominance, internal factors that can affect it are, for example, poor diet, so a diet that is low in fiber and high in sugar, all right, not having a gallbladder, or even insufficient bile, because bile actually binds to those estrogen metabolites and actually takes them out of the body. Things like chronic stress, as well as bacterial infections, and also carrying additional body fat can increase your levels of estrogen, because the estrogen is also produced within that fat.
Right.
So those are internal factors, okay? Gut health, sluggish liver. Remember, you have a sluggish liver, you're going to have a sluggish gut, okay? They actually work hand in hand.
Cycle, yeah.
Yes. And it's mainly because the body needs to get rid of these extra estrogens. Okay, and when I mentioned about the fiber, the reason why fiber is so important, and why if you have a diet that's low in fiber it can be a problem, is because the fiber actually binds to estrogens and also pulls them out the body.
Okay.
So your external factors, though, are ones that a lot of people aren't aware of. Okay, these are your xenoestrogens. So xenoestrogens are man-made chemicals that actually mimic estrogen in the body. Your phthalates, your parabens, your BPAs, so skincare products, makeup products, that kind of thing. Remember, you're putting them on your skin daily, and your skin is one of the biggest absorption organs.
Yes, absolutely.
So those are all having to go through the liver, and that's all adding to additional estrogen. You also find estrogen in styrofoam, Glad wrap, etc.
Everything is covered in to some degree.
Yes, and microwaving in plastic is an absolute no-no, because that heat actually activates the estrogens, and it goes into the food.
Right.
All right, so there's that, and then there's obviously synthetic hormones, birth control pills, adding those extra estrogens to the body, and then as well as, you know, you've got your conventionally raised meat and dairy, all right, and soy, processed soy. A lot of this is also what they call estrogenic food, okay, and those extra hormones are going into the body as well. Remember, they give the animals hormones to increase their growth.
Yeah.
You are what you eat. You are what your food eats.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So those are automatically now increasing those levels.
Okay.
And the estrogen dominance also is possible in men. All right, men that struggle with, obviously men's estrogen levels aren't as high as women, so they don't have as many symptoms, but andropause as well as man boobs, prostate issues are all contributing to having excess estrogens in the body, which we're exposed to in our external environment.
I know we're talking about sort of the sex hormones as well, but thyroid is another big one in terms of gut health and thyroid. We often get the question from viewers around how your gut health might affect your thyroid. What's the link there and what's the impact of that?
Okay, so a poor performing gut will definitely have links to a poor performing thyroid, all right? Hypothyroidism, underactive thyroid, and even in turn Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is the autoimmune of thyroid.
Yes.
So if you can think of it this way, the thyroid is a bit like the yellow canary in the body. It basically can monitor, it's there to signal the level of toxicity in the body. And like that canary in the mines used to pick up the toxicity in the mines, that's what the thyroid does for the body.
Right.
So generally when someone struggles with a thyroid issue, you need to look at your toxicity levels. Okay. Is your liver detoxifying properly? Okay. And obviously with that, what is your gut doing as well? And remember, in terms of the gut will help in hormone utilization. So if the gut is in systemic inflammation, all right, it actually will make hormone receptors in the body less receptive. So you can be producing the hormones, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the body is actually reading them properly.
Yes.
And that is a big thing, and that stems a lot from the gut.
Okay.
And that's why it's so important to actually have a look at what's happening there, because it has that alternate effect. And also, if you're not absorbing the nutrients in the gut, you're not going to be absorbing the nutrients needed to make those specific hormones that are needed, say, for example, for the thyroid.
Okay. Again, it just goes to that system that we're working with in the body, and if it's out of kilter, there's a sort of a chain reaction that's happening. But
your hormonal system works a bit like a symphony orchestra. One thing is out of balance, it's going to throw everything else out of balance.
Yeah. And then in terms of correcting a hormonal challenge due to gut health, what would be the primary steps that one would take in getting your gut in better health for that specific side effect or symptom of poor gut health? Or would it be a standard procedure across to just get a good, healthy gut going?
Well, there are obviously standards in terms of things that are most common to do, but when it comes to specifically balancing hormones, there is additional things you can do. So for example, as we know, eating whole foods and fruits and vegetables are very important, but eating your leafy green vegetables become more important because they contain phytoprogesterone.
Right.
And phytoprogesterone is a natural form of progesterone that will help to elevate progesterone levels, because when you struggle with estrogen dominance, it's because the estrogen and progesterone are out of sync. So you want to naturally elevate those progesterone levels in order for them to actually start working properly.
Okay.
All right. Another one is actually including your good fats in your diet, your essential fatty acids, your omega-3, 6 and 9s, but specifically your 3s, because they not only nourish the thyroid, okay, but they also are phenomenal in terms of the building blocks that one needs to actually produce those healthy hormones. Another one is fiber. Having a high fiber diet is highly important because of the fact that it'll bind to extra estrogen, pull it out of the body. And the problem is a lot of women struggle with constipation, okay? And that is mainly a sign of the gut not being in a good place. But if you don't go regularly, if you don't have a bowel movement regularly, what happens is those toxins and that estrogen actually gets reabsorbed into your system,
right.
and that can add to that imbalance. So having a regular bowel movement is vitally important. Another thing is actually including estrogen reset superfoods, turmeric, salmon, dandelion root, maca, your leafy greens. These are really good to include to help in terms of resetting the levels of estrogen in your body.
And in terms of getting those in, I mean, would that be, some of them you can integrate into your diet, some of them are supplementation would be ideal, I imagine.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
A combination of both is always good, because obviously it depends on how much you're absorbing,
Right.
but also keeping in that nutrient density in your diet is very important.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Christine, another fascinating discussion. Really great to drill into these details because it gets the big picture thinking becomes a bit more clear. So thank you for sharing your insights with us.
Only a pleasure.
Wonderful.